he ended up taking my charges. And so mine got dismissed, and that was because of him.
Welcome to More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. I'm your host, Jay, and today's episode is going to be with Julie. Julie is someone that I recorded such a long time ago, and we haven't had the chance to release the episode. So that's going to be happening today, and she will be speaking on her and her man's story and their wild ride of a story. And I love their story, and I love their relationship. They have a unique relationship. Before we get into that, I know I promised that I would speak on a little bit about what happened at the wedding and whatnot. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. When I was supposed to get married on Christmas and they denied me, I was upset and didn't understand what was going on. They lied and said that it was because of staffing. Then it came out a couple days later that it was because I was being assessed as a threat or some kind of craziness like that. And then on January 1st, they gave us a visit, like a video visit. And we were a little bit confused, and I didn't want to say anything because I was like, I don't know if they know. Maybe it was a mistake. And then again on January 2nd. And then on January 5th is when we got a note back from the prison saying that I was not removed as a visitor. So we thought everything was fine. And then again on January 9th, they gave us a visit. And we're like, okay. On January 10th, Nick went on a radio show. If you want the recording, it's actually a really good interview. Reach out to me. I'll send you the link to the recording. But he went on a radio show to promote his book. For those that don't know about his book, Nick wrote a book called The Prisoner Manifesto by Nicholas J. Ely, E-L-Y. And he's never seen his book published. The prison won't allow him to have a copy of the book. They do not like the book. They have not specified why they do not like the book. The essence of the book is speaking on how incarcerated individuals are not going to get rehabilitated by the prison because the prison's goal is not to rehabilitate. So anybody who is in the prison community has a full understanding of that. If you're not, it takes very little research for you to understand that there's a reason why oversentencing and wrongful convictions occur. So Nick's book speaks on how incarcerated men and women need to come together and essentially rehabilitate themselves. And how do they make themselves and hold themselves to a certain standard so that they can be better individuals, so that they can be taken seriously. He's essentially saying, look, guys, we may or may not have made some mistakes. The chances of us living a high-risk lifestyle before we were in here, regardless of whether we are innocent or guilty of the crime that they have found us guilty of, doesn't matter. What matters is that if we want to be taken seriously by society, we need to up our game and become men of integrity so that we may be considered by society again. Because as much as in prison there's politics and there's levels and whatever, to the outside community, when you're incarcerated, you're essentially the bottom of the barrel, right? So that's what his book is. It's really a positive message, and he was shocked that the prison was upset by it because it is a positive message. So he didn't expect that to happen, and that's part of the snowball effect of what happened and why they were trying to separate us. I published the book. I publish books by incarcerated men and women, and his was one of the first ones that I published. So I was involved in it. Did that have anything to do with the fact that they have blocked our access? Probably. Have they specified? No. So going back to the story, on January 10th, he did an interview for the book on a prison reform radio show. And the next day I was removed from his list of approved visitors. And we didn't know why. And they were very vague. He didn't even know. They didn't even tell him that I was removed until I stopped getting visits. And he inquired why. And they told him, I guess, that I was removed. I was not allowed to see him. So when the wedding was coming up, I waited and I respected their decision. Even though I didn't know what the decision was, they never told me what the decision was. So fast forward to a week before the wedding, I sent out an email. There's a new warden in Nick's facility, and we hadn't communicated with him at all. I was hoping that he would read the email, and I was waiting until the last possible second to have to send an email because I didn't want certain people to be responding to the email, because I know, and as people who have communicated with prisons, there are people that are so very unhelpful that there's no point in even communicating at all with them. So I was reluctant to send any type of email for that reason, because I've seen certain people's responses from even other families of people that are incarcerated there. So I was avoiding it, to be fair. I didn't want to know the answer. And for anyone who struggles with communicating with prison administration, it's so draining and it's so difficult to have no power over your own life because your loved one is incarcerated and you're tied to them. So I sent out a nice email. And in my email, I asked if the wedding was still approved, because it had been approved, but then there was a lockdown, so we didn't know if they would still let him have the wedding. I asked if my mother could go. I had sent in the forms weeks earlier and we still hadn't heard back if her form was approved. I explained the travel that we would be taking, the age of my mother, and the fact that I'd sent in the form weeks before, and the importance of the ceremony, the fact that neither of us had ever been married before, that because Nicholas is serving a life sentence, this could be the only time we get married, and that I would wanted my mother there and that his father would be there. So I asked that. And then I asked if I could go to the visit. I got a response back, not from the warden. And as soon as I saw the response, I knew there was no point in reading it. But essentially it said, the wedding's approved. If your mom gets approved in time, sure, she can go. If she doesn't, then no, she can't. Then they referenced a letter that they had issued to me, apparently, saying, as per the letter that we have previously sent you, you're not approved as a visitor and you can go to the wedding and you have to leave immediately after. So I'm like, what? What letter are you talking about? So I asked, what was this letter? So then I get the letter back, and I'm not even kidding, guys. Like, this is real. I am not lying at all. Very, very real. They sent me a letter dated December 17th saying I was suspended indefinitely from visits. December 17th, 2024. I had visits with Nicholas January 1st, January 2nd, January 9th. This letter is dated December 17th. So when I asked, hey, this letter is dated December 17th, you let me have visits in January, so that letter is void, doesn't apply anymore because you let me have video visits. So are you picking and choosing when you want this letter to be applied and when you don't? Is that what's happening here? Or is it that there was a transition in the wardens and certain people don't want me to have approved visiting status and certain people don't care, and those people got what they wanted between wardens? Is that what happened? I don't know. But when I inquired as to how that's possible, zero response. Of course. Are we surprised? No, we're not surprised. When Nick tries to speak on anything, to speak to the warden about the situation, it gets intercepted by people who do not have the authority to make that decision. And it gets sent back to him saying no. So people who do not have that authority intercept letters that are directed to the warden, who is the only person who can overturn a decision like this. It gets intercepted by a lower leveled employee who sends it back to say no. So we don't even know if the warden is aware of the situation and the ridiculousness around it. I want to clarify that the letter stated that due to unauthorized business practices, unauthorized phone communication, and unauthorized public communication. So then I go looking in the books for these, violations. I email for records to try and find these violations. Nowhere do these violations exist. These words do not exist anywhere. Yet they're being applied to me and told that I'm suspended indefinitely, which in the rule book says that you cannot suspend someone indefinitely. You have to give a time in the letter as to when they can reapply. There is no time in the letter. So they're not even following their own policies and procedures. And when I ask for elaboration on what these mean, or phone communication, it's funny because the whole prison got a memo like a couple weeks ago that said that after one three-way call, you get a 7-day suspension on phone. One three-way call. Which at one point they said that that's why they took me off the phones, was a 3-way call, which that in itself makes very little sense, but fine. Let's take it. That 3-way call should have resulted in 7-day suspension. That was since November 18th. We are now in March. But yet this memo says it's only 7 days. Interesting. And I'm telling this story because I think people need to know what happens, because I'm not an anomaly. This is not new information to people who are listening who have loved ones that are in prison. It's not new information. it's sad that that's reality, but it's not new information. So they used this letter dated December 17th to stop me from being able to visit him. But we did get the ceremony. When we got there, and my mom couldn't come, so she waited in the lobby for me to come back. It was going to be short anyway. I had another good friend of Nick and I come to the entrance as well to be there and sit with my mom, which was really nice. And then my future father-in-law, who's my current father-in-law, and myself, we got to go in and see him so I could get married. His friend came out, who I'd never met before, because we'd never been in the visiting room at the same time, and I'd heard a lot about him, so I was really excited to meet him. And it was cool because when I came into the room, there was a lot of people that were in that visiting room that I knew, or I knew their loved ones. So it was really nice because it felt like we were surrounded by people that love us, despite the place where we're at, right? And there was a few people that, I'd never met before, so it was cool. I got to meet them and talk to them real quick. And then we went into the room. The Reverend had beautiful words to say. The ceremony was really nice. They gave us some time. We weren't alone at any point. We weren't able to visit, really. We took some pictures. They came back and said, you can't have any of the pictures. Even though the pictures were already taken, you can't have any of them. You have to have your hips facing forward. You can't be kissing. You can't be holding hands in a certain way. You can't be doing this and this and that. Essentially, you need to stand next to each other, and that's what you get to do. So I didn't fight any of it. At this point, I'm married. I love this man. These people are not going to ruin my day. As sincere or insincere as they were, or fake or real as they were, I don't even care. Doesn't even matter to me. And then as we walked out of the room, the whole visiting room was clapping and cheering for us, which I thought was so nice. Really made us feel loved, I think. Nick said that when he got back to the unit, the whole unit was clapping and cheering for him. And then I had to say bye. My mom had mentioned before I went in that Nick's dad was worried about Nick's reaction when I was forced to leave. So I was conscious of that. And I knew that if I made a scene or if I freaked out, that he could potentially react. And the last thing I wanted was for him to react negatively. And I found out after that he himself was worried about it and what that would be like. So I made every effort not to cry. I made every effort to be happy in the moment. And I was happy. And I left, and my mom was there and our friend. And then we had more friends meet us for lunch, and we had just a really nice family style lunch with a lot of people that love us. And his father came, and it was really, really nice. As nice as I could imagine it to be. And then afterwards, I got to go to legislature. And when I talk about how everything happens for a reason, I'm going to tell you why. I was supposed to get married on December 25th. It didn't happen, correct? Then I booked my flight to Lincoln in February. And I was supposed to fly directly into Lincoln, fly in the night before, fly out right after the ceremony. So my flight was at 1:30 from Lincoln. Well, when my mom decided to come, it was pretty last minute. So I was like, okay. So I was looking at flights to book her. And I was thinking, wow, it was $600 or $700 more expensive for her to fly into Lincoln with me than for me to switch my flight and fly into Omaha. And then her flight would be a lot cheaper. So I'm like, you know what, I'll just change her flight. So we both flew into Omaha, and then we rented a car. So when we flew into Omaha, the flight back was only at 5:30 that day. Then we found out, a week before the wedding, I think, that the Clean Slate Act, there was a public hearing for it on February 26th. And it was at 1:30. If they hadn't have denied me that wedding on Christmas, if my mother had not decided to come, I would not have been able to go and see this and hear people's stories. So this Clean Slate Act essentially would mean after 25 years, if you're under the age of 26 at the time of the crime, you would be eligible for a pardon or parole after 25 years. And if you were over 26 at the time of the crime, it would be after 30 years. This is huge for Nebraska. There is nothing like this right now. For perspective, I just wrote a letter of support for D, AJ's boyfriend, who's in Connecticut, and there's a bill currently about to be passed that has already been passed for certain years and now will apply to everybody, that if you committed a crime under the age of 21, you would be eligible for parole and pardon after 12 years or 60% of your sentence, I believe. So it would make D currently eligible for parole. Nick and D committed crimes at the same time. And if this Clean Slate Act passes in Nebraska, it would mean that Nick is eligible for parole in 11 years, which means he won't die in prison, which is a big deal. And I have mixed feelings about it all because I still think it's not fair, regardless of what happened, and I still don't even know what happened. But regardless of what happened, the statements of facts that are currently set forth around his case are that he did not have a weapon, that he was not part of the fight, that he was not part of the accidental killing of a drug dealer. He had no part in it. He's never been violent in prison. He's been a lot of things that hasn't been violent. And he still has to wait 11 years after this bill changes. But, like I spoke to him about, you never know what could happen. And this bill is so important right now. And it's the start for Nebraska. And sitting in that legislature and hearing these people's stories just broke my heart. Vets, people who've gone to school, people who are trying as hard as they can to be community members, to have respect, who have been there for 30 plus years incarcerated. They are not the same people that they were when they were first arrested. These people's sons and daughters and grandchildren that haven't seen their grandfather because they don't want to bring them to a prison setting. Just everything, it just piles up, and you hear these stories and you just want to cry. You hear people's stories who are also caught up in a bad life and are no longer anymore, and are crying on the stand to the Judiciary Committee about how it could have been them sitting behind those bars. How felony murder plays such a crucial role, and how many people have been charged with felony murder when they did not commit the murder, or it actually was an accident, and that they've been labeled with felony murder, which automatically makes it a first-degree murder sentence. It is not classified differently in Nebraska. It is a murder one automatic life sentence without the chance of parole. And you hear so many stories. It was so heartbreaking. And I don't know where they're at right now with the bill. They haven't passed it out of Judiciary Committee yet. I'm hopeful that they will. But it's the start, and it needs to keep going. But in saying all this, it was a really nice day. I got to speak at the Judiciary Committee meeting. I got to read a statement from Nicholas. And as I said there, it was the first time I've ever done anything like this. It was very scary. I interview women who do it and have started, and I'm so jealous that they have. And then it is crazy scary to do, and I'm excited to do it again and speak on his behalf. It is the start of being able to affect change and have a voice somewhere, and felt really good because there's so few gifts you can give to your loved ones who are incarcerated. And on our wedding day, I was able to give him probably the best gift I could have given him, which is being able to speak his words and how he feels about this bill, and the opportunity to have the weight lifted off his shoulder that he will not die in prison. It was a big deal. And then a couple weeks later, AJ went and spoke on a bill for D, which was really cool. And she was so nervous too. And then we fast forward to recently, where, like I said, anything that Nick tries to speak to the warden on to change the decision that doesn't make any sense, or ask for more information on it and not get any, it's just been a circle. And the last thing we've heard is that we can wait a year to reapply for me to be a visitor. So after marrying my husband, at this point, I'm not able to see him for a year. And it's crushing. It's crushing because I didn't do anything wrong. That's the kicker. And I'm continuously trying to make this make sense. And I cannot. And it breaks my heart that so many people before me have gone through this in different states. I'm not just claiming Nebraska. And so many people will continue. And that's why it's so important for support groups to exist. There is a support group in Nebraska, in Lincoln specifically, that I would like to share with you guys, because if you are in Lincoln, if you are in Nebraska, and you are experiencing this, and you are not alone. At the end of the day, you are not alone, and we need to come together as loved ones of people that are incarcerated, and we need to talk about it, and we need to know each other and help each other and support each other. It's so important. The support group in Lincoln is called Women Impacted by Incarceration. It is on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month at Scooter's Coffee at 10 a.m. is the gathering time, 10:15 is the meeting. It says it is fostering hope, healing, resilience, and support to navigate the challenges of this journey together. So Women Impacted by Incarceration at Scooter's Coffee on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month. If you'd like more information, you can reach out to me, or you can also reach out to impactedwomen@gmail.com. So that is one support group. It is in person. I have Zoomed in before. I should probably again, because when things like this happen, when you're told that you're not allowed to see your loved one for a year, it takes a toll on you, and you can't even privately mourn with your husband. I can't speak privately to him. I cannot cry to him privately. It is constantly, being watched and monitored and whatnot. So it's sad, but that's where we're at. And that's why I've had a hard time dealing with it, because I'm still trying to piece together the reason. And the more exposure we get to what's going on and what's happening and the realities of what we go through, and more people hear it, I'm hoping that it will fuel others to help us in our journeys to affect change in a positive way. With that, I will leave you to this episode. Hey. Welcome, Julie.
Hey, yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I loved hearing about how you guys met, so please share.
Okay, well, I don't even know where to begin, honestly. We're from North Carolina, so I guess it all started February of 2017. We were both employed for a cemetery, and one morning when I pulled up to work, there was this guy sitting in his car, and I was like, oh, well, who's that,
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked lonely sitting out there. I had went in and set my stuff down, and I just thought, well, I'm just going to go back out there and see what's up. I go out there, and he had his window rolled down, and I was like, well, hey. And I was like, who is this guy? And it just kind of went on from there. It just kind of grew and grew and grew. And we ended up just being a couple and getting together.
So did you just jump into a relationship right away?
Well, I guess we were friends in the very, very beginning. We just hit it off, honestly. I guess love at first sight. I don't know if there's any such thing, but he gave me butterflies like right out the gate. He took me back to that feeling you have in high school. I knew that I wanted him. So.
Aww. How is he different? What made him unique?
Well, that bad boy persona.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I feel protected. And the way he looked at me, honestly, really what grabbed my attention. And we could talk all day long. And I could talk about this all day long, but nothing ever gets old. If that kind of makes any sense.
That makes absolute sense. I was actually talking to Nick about how the conversation never gets old. And it's cool when you're with someone that you can talk about anything and it just keeps going and going. And you always feel like there's never enough time.
Yeah. And I always get upset and I'm like, you left me out here. I don't mean it like that, but I do in a way just because I need him and I want him. He's not with me physically. And that sucks.
Like he made you feel safe.
Yes, very much so. He was my safe haven. Yes.
Aww. So you guys met, you were dating, everything was all jolly and great, and then he gets arrested.
And then my whole world started to crumble.
What happened?
Well, I really don't even know, honestly, how it all started just dwindling down. He got arrested October 2017 for some crimes that they say that he had committed, blah, 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 blah. Well, they gave him 2 weeks to tell on somebody, pretty much. And if he didn't, then they was going to come back and charge him. And at that point, that's when he went on the run.
Oh, wow.
And
so instead of ratting on someone, decide to go on the run.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's exactly what happened.
That shows someone's character, right?
It does. It was just one of them situations. And at that point, several months goes by, but February of 2018, they finally catch up with him, and he doesn't come back out at that point. I made his bond, but he wasn't released because he had an extradition on him, and so he was extradited to Virginia. They actually came and hit me with charges.
What?
I had harboring a fugitive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary.
Yes, it was. Very much so. And when they come and hit me with charges, by this point, it was 3 different times. They just kept coming back. One time I was arrested before he went in during that whole time period when he was on the run because they thought I knew where he was. And I did and I didn't, Jay. And I'll tell you what, if they would have just done their job, all they had to do was follow me just from A to B. And I would have led him straight to him, but that was too hard for them to do. And so he continued to be on the run for, like I said, until February of 2018. So he was on the run for a good bit.
Yeah, that's a long bit. Did you know his history? Was it kind of a shock to you? Was he honest with you from the beginning?
Yes. One night we were riding down the road and he just looked at me and he was like, I just want you to know, Julie, that I love you and all this stuff. And I was like, what are you even talking about? And he's like, I'm going to be gone for a bit. When they get me, I'm gone. And I was like, we'll get you a lawyer. We'll do this. We'll do that. I really didn't realize it would have escalated as big as it was. My husband had over 200 and some charges. I'm talking.
I can't. How is that even possible? Is it a record?
I don't know. Granted, I'm not saying he's innocent. He spent half of his life already in prison.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the judicial system doesn't give guys like him in his situation the amount of re-entry that they need back into society. When he's in and out from high school or juvenile to adult, they're not getting anything.
Exactly.
And he does tell me about all of that. I knew of the bid that he had just got off on. I knew all of that. But he does tell me that he's going to be gone and he loved me and didn't want me to wait. But of course, I don't know why he was even telling me that because that was just like,
you were already locked in. You were done.
Seriously. Right.
And what was it like? He was on the run, so you didn't know where he was?
Well, no, I knew where he was. I feel like they were just working a case on him. That's all it boiled down to.
What was his game plan? Going to run his whole life?
No. Well, that's what I got tired of, honestly.
Yeah.
I got tired of not being able for him to go to a football game with me, to see my daughter cheer. It was those types of things that really just was getting to me. I was like, oh, God, are they not ever going to get it? Yeah. What's going on here?
Did you feel like you were always being watched?
Jay, no, I did not. No, I didn't. That is what really sets me off. Because, again, they wanted him to tell on somebody. All they have to do is to do their job. That's all they had to do. Guys that are headstrong and that are loyal and that are in that situation, I just feel like granted, that is the genuine thing to do. But in the end, it does nothing but slap you back in the face.
Nick says the exact same thing. That they should do their jobs and it shouldn't be up to me to find your evidence. Yes.
Because that's all they have to do. Instead of relying on somebody else that isn't even a credible witness, that's what bothers me about the whole criminal aspect of it. It's not right. And it's not fair to guys like Nick and Todd. It's really not. It's not fair.
Exactly. Can I ask how he got caught?
Well, okay. At that point in time, back in 2018, he was in a high-speed chase.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. He sure was. That time, he was by himself, and they get behind him, and he just takes off. I guess it was just one of those things. They knew who he was. He knew who they was. He just kicked it. He ended up actually wrecking, so that did not go over so well. You could feel him getting closer at that point. Towards the end, I did kind of feel like they were watching it. I did feel like that.
Right. And does your family know everything that's going on?
Yeah. He was in the newspaper. Then I was in the newspaper.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Lord God. Yeah. And now I guess that's why I don't leave my house much.
Right.
I actually, all in all, had 11 charges. And I had 7 felony charges, 1 misdemeanor, harboring a fugitive, and then I had 3 other charges. Those 3 other charges, those were my charges. Am I proud of it? Why, no. I mean, my husband just gets locked up. I was hustling for some money. I'll be honest with you. I needed money. So when he just gets locked up, I'm arrested one time. I'm arrested another time. I'm arrested like 3 times total. And this is in 2018, right? Okay. So he ended up pulling 2 years in Virginia, right?
Okay.
He gets out in December of 2019. Okay. So we still, mind you, have not went to court for any of it.
What?
None of it. I swear. We did not go to court for any of it.
Wow.
So when Todd gets out, they hit him with a bond increase hearing. And we're like, what? I've never even heard of such. I mean, his bond was already $2 million. It's ridiculous. He had some really good attorneys, though. I will say he had some really good attorneys that really cared about him. And after he gets out, for a good bit, I can't begin to tell you how happy I was. I just hadn't been that happy in a long time.
Aww.
I wish I could be that happy again.
Aw, you will be one day.
I hope so.
So December 2019, he was released.
And he's out till May of 2020.
Aww.
And then we're in another high-speed chase.
You guys just love the high-speed chases.
Yes. And we had another guy with us, and he was driving, but they swore up and down that Todd was driving, and he's been in ever since then. And we finally do go to court back in 2023. Mind you, from 2018 to then, we still had not been to court.
Wow. And
my husband, out of the kindness of his heart, and I guess being the man that he is and being my protector, he takes it to a jury trial in one county. And that's the county he got like 20 years. And then for the other counties, one of the counties got dismissed, but then 2 of the other counties, because there was 4 counties in total, but 2 of the counties, my county and this county, were in the same district. So they were done at the same time. Well, he ended up taking the plea for those because and I'll tell you what he done. So they wanted to call me his co-defendant. He would be like, she ain't my co-defendant. She's my wife. She's my wife. And so he tells them, you either dismiss my wife's charges or I'm taking it to jury trial. And that was his fight. And that's what he stuck with. And they ended up accepting his offer, and he ended up taking my charges. And so mine got dismissed, and that was because of him.
Yeah. You know, when you told me this the first time in our initial call, I still hang on to that as the most romantic thing. And I mean, it's romantic, but in this situation, it is something that not a lot of men would do. And here's this guy.
No, and honestly, you don't know how many times I hear it. Well, Julie, how did you get your chart? How did I get my chart? Are you kidding me? My husband is pulling 41 years. I could never, ever, ever repay him for what he done. I would walk through hell and back for him, and he would do the same for me. And I know that in my heart.
He just proves that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That he would do anything.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And here's this guy that everybody from the outside talking about this man, from just reading news articles and looking at his charges. Yeah, you would think. Right? And then as you're talking to me, you're telling me about how he refused to rat out his friend or whoever, even if it was a stranger. He refused to rat out someone. So he went on the run instead of throwing someone else under the bus. Then he takes your charges so that you don't have to deal with any of the law enforcement, any issues.
And his big thing that he would even say is my visits, because even though we're married in the state of North Carolina, my visit with a still not got approved. If I had those charges hanging over me, or if I'm kind of a convicted felon, I would not be able to see him.
Yeah. And he was looking at a long time.
Oh, he was looking at way down the road, yes, because on my resume, I don't have to put that down. It's not any baggage that I have.
It's like this ripple effect. He turned your life completely around so that you don't have to face any consequences for anything. And he did that out of love for you and to be able to see you.
It's funny you say that, because he would say that he came in and messed my world completely up.
And I don't know this person. I don't know your husband from a hole in the wall. And just hearing this and hearing you talk about him, it just gives me such a positive outlook on him. You know, to me, he's such a man of integrity.
Oh, well, thank you. Todd has always been a sucker for helping somebody that won't help themselves. And he has always felt sorry for people like that. And I think that kind of caught up with him. And it did. That he felt sorry for them, and they did nothing to help him back out or anything.
There are very few men of integrity.
One day we added it all up, and he has honestly spent half his life in prison. I want to say it was like 20-some, and then the other one was like 19. And it was half of his life. I mean, he's 40-some years old. It's half his life.
It's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking.
It is. That's what my mom would say. When we got to reading his discovery and stuff, and like the court transcripts from his jury trial, and just things that the district attorney said about him, he said all these things, but they never said anything about reentry back into society or anything that could help. Nothing was positive about it. Once you're in the system, you're always in the system.
Yeah, they don't do anything to try and help you. I remember Nick was telling me he had a first charge before this one. And when he got out, I think he said they gave him $100 and we're like, okay, bye. No supports, no follow-up, no nothing. It was just here, you're out.
They say that there's reentry, but come on. I mean, really, what kind of reentry are we talking about? And I'm talking about some really serious reentry back in society with some class, some therapy, some doctor visits, whatever. Something that can get them stable and get them where their mind is not floating back to those things.
Exactly. When you're in a moment of desperation, you have nothing, you're going to go to what you know. 9 times out of 10, they're set up for failure.
Oh, yeah.
It's not surprising. But anyways, rewind a minute because you have a really cute wedding story.
So when they catch up to him in February of 2018, he finally calls me that morning. He was so upset. And he was like, are you going to wait on me, Julie? And I was like, I'm going to wait on you, Todd. I'm going to wait on you. And he was like, well, we just need to get married. And I was like, what? I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I really didn't even think he was being serious. I really honestly just thought it was probably just that jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I would have swore up and down he was not being serious. But he was. And I don't know, it took me a while to find a preacher, to be honest with you. And I finally just broke down and I was like, God, if this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, please just give me a sign. Please just tell me, because if I can't find a preacher, then it ain't going to happen. And Even though the sergeant knew Todd a little bit, he even told me no at first. But, and I didn't know any better, I went ahead and filed for our marriage license. And so when I'm told no, I'm like, well, I've already got my marriage license. I don't know what to do. I have to get married. And he was like, well, okay. And he gave me like this short period of time. And I was like, okay. But then I couldn't find a preacher. And that became a little challenging. They either didn't want to do it with him behind the glass, or they couldn't have the little therapy with us. I did offer 3-way calls. I was really trying to just find somebody.
Yeah.
And I just up and called a guy. I'll never forget him. And he was a Baptist preacher in a little town in that county. And he said that he would do it. And I was like, really? And he was like, why, yeah. And I told him the whole story. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, sir, I would not be calling you if I was not sure. I've done thought about this. And now that I found you, I know now what I'm supposed to do. And I even had told him that, because I did. I even called the Baptist Association. I was really
desperate.
Yeah. And he did it, and my daughter was there crying. I cried, and then my husband, he was crying too. My daughter was a witness. It was an emotional roller coaster ride during that time period.
And that was 2018. You had no idea what you were about to face the next 5 years at that point.
Well, I did, Jay, and I didn't. I'll be honest with you. To this day, I really don't think that it has hit me yet, if that makes sense. It's not really set in with me yet, I don't think. I tell myself that, and maybe it has, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I could be going down the road and I can't breathe, and I feel like I'm going to have an anxiety attack. But the thoughts of my husband never getting out scares me to death.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's hit me yet. I knew he would get a long time because he got his big boy time. He was already a habitual felon. A habitual is only time enhancement here in North Carolina, but that's really what done it. So I already knew, and he already had told me that it would be like this. Every girl wants a wedding dress. And when we're little, we dream about our wedding day and how it might be and how we want it to be. We just want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then it's like, bam, we're all grown up. And then that day finally comes and none of that even matters. I think that Todd and I both would have done whatever it took just to be together.
Leading up to it and that day, how'd you feel inside? Did you feel safe and secure in your decision? Did you waver at all? Or was it like, I know I want to do this?
Oh, no, I knew I wanted to. God, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I just knew. He can still give me butterflies. I get to visit, and I visit in the morning. So I get to visit, and then my heart will start fluttering still. Just the thoughts of getting to see him. I can't really describe it. It's hard for me to describe. It really is. Like, all my worries go away. When I'm with him, that's the happiest.
Like a teenager, when you talk about him?
Exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I could feel it through your talking, how much you
Everybody says that when we're around each other, his eyes light up. And then they'll say, like, wow, I think y'all's eyes just light up. And I see that now. At first, I was like, they're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. My eyes don't light up. One day, I just looked at him at visit, and I seen it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling completely. I remember when I went to see Nick the last time, and just the look on his face, it's just so obvious how much this man cares about me that if anybody were to question it, they just need to look at the video of the way he looks as soon as he sees me walk into a room. It's adorable.
I get it.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about when you say they have that little sparkle. It's like he's glowing.
Yeah.
And it's something special.
Yes, it is. I was devastated when he got locked up. Initially, I just wanted to cry all the time.
Yeah.
And I just missed him so much. And when I get homesick from him, whenever if I go a while and don't talk to him, I mean, I talk to him every day, but like if we get into a fight or something, he'll not call. He is stubborn like that. And I just get like this homesick feeling, you know, and that is the worst feeling in the world.
I can feel it when I don't see him on video for a stretch of time. I feel different. I just feel like I'm far away. Like the reality hits. When I see him once a week, it's fine.
Do you feel distant from him? Because I will feel distant.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he is living a totally separate life than me. And that drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah. When you go from talking for so many hours a day and then to not or very little, he used to know every step I took. He knew exactly where I was or what I was doing or who I was with. And I just felt close to him and connected. And then when we lose it, I just realized that he doesn't know where I am. And then we have that disconnect and we have to fight that much harder to try and stay connected.
Get back there again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but I blame those feelings like on the
100%.
I don't know. I feel like for me, that is where my craziness and my trust issues come in. Like that is what brings me to my lowest.
Yeah.
That is when all those crazy thoughts, all those crazy stories you hear, all that crazy stuff. That's when all that stuff starts going through my mind.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And how do you guys deal with it?
Just let me be in my bedroom under my covers and I'll come out when I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I remember once I got a little bit short with him about something around trust issues, and he just stopped and he was like, Jay, this is what they want. You're literally giving them what they want. They want to separate us. They want to split us up. And the way you're thinking right now is exactly what they want. And I was like, oh, damn, they got me. You know?
Right.
And I was like, I really don't even feel that way.
It is hard from our perspective. It is. But I get what he's saying. And then I wish I could eat like that. But I can't. I'm an obsessive compulsive person and I have like OCD, and so when I get to pondering on something, I really take it outside of the box.
You spiral.
Like I really will let it bother me, yes, and then I'll blame it on Todd and I will take it solely out on him. And it's hard, but we argue a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Jay. I'm not lying to you when I tell you that the prisons know our name. Everybody there knows this.
Do you fight in person too?
I swear.
Like in visit?
We have, but I will just get up and walk out.
I love it.
But we've talked about that, and he was like, Julie, do you know how hard that is? And I'm like, what, do you know how hard it is for you not to stop me and I have to keep talking? Like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But that's what keeps us going.
Yeah. Do you find that you argue more when you miss him?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, if I want his attention, I will cause a fight like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you want his time.
Just to get his attention.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember I had a falling out with a family member, and this was when I was just starting with Nick. We were just starting to chat and get to know each other. We were only a couple months into knowing each other, and he turned to me one day and was like, are you done punishing them? And I was like, what? And he's like, are you done punishing? Because you're clearly punishing them. And I'm like, no, I'm not. They did me wrong. I don't want to talk to this person. And he's like, self-reflect a bit. And I was like, that's mean. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But then I did. And I did self-reflect. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Am I punishing this person? So whenever I get that feeling, for some reason, it always comes into my mind. Like, am I trying to punish him? Or do I have validity to this?
Mine says, well, you're just punishing me. You're punishing me. And I'm like, punishing you? How am I punishing? Like, what? Yeah. You're not giving me what I want. You're punishing me.
Yeah.
I'm a brat when it comes to him. I am.
Yeah. And you were in such a roller coaster for so many years. It was just in and out and stress and charges and different counties. Like, there's so much that was going on in your life. How did you deal with all that stress, and how did you want to stay in it?
Well, everything played its part, from the judicial side of things to how one of us may have said something. There was so much. And I feel like the law didn't, again, do their job. And I know that this may sound absolutely insane and not healthy at all, but Todd can make me the happiest girl in the world. And then at the same time, he can make me the saddest. And he can make me the maddest. He can just bring me to my knees, or I'll want to bite nails, chew them, and spit them out. It's either high or low. There's no in the middle with us. And I mean that in good and bad way. But at the end of the day, of course, this isn't where I wanted to be, or I thought I would be, or I saw myself at, but it was the hand I've been dealt. And I have to just take the good with the bad, smile at the sad, and just keep pushing every single day and just keep going forward. And I need to step up as a wife. I need to help him out more, because I'll be honest with you, here the last little bit, I've just got really down about it, and I've just let that crazy prison mentality of it just really bring me down. Try joining groups, but those groups do me no good, Jay. Like, those groups, or is anybody talking to my inmates? Let me tell you, if I see my husband on one of them, so help me, God. You got to be kidding. I promise you I'm going to go straight to that prison right then. He's going to look me in my face at me like I did take this ride with him for nothing. And I think that is where I kind of have let that stuff bother me a little bit. You know, you read about all this stuff, and you read about all these guys talking to multiple women, and it's just a lot. And I know it goes on, and I know it's true. But every single one of them is not like that. I know that with all my heart. I know that every single one of them is not talking to multiple women. And I guess for me, knowing that my husband at the end of the day loves me and what he's done for me, that helps me
I do have a few friends that had to remove themselves from groups or stop going on different social media sites because of that exact reason. When you see all this negativity all the time, all these people claiming that they found their husbands cheating, or they are asking that someone help test them, or all this stuff, like it's just negative, negative, negative. And it really does pull you in that direction because that's all you see.
And it will get you to thinking.
Yeah. But there is a lot of success stories. There is a lot
There
of
is.
people that love their men and they're just not vocal. They're just not on the groups.
A lot of the men love their women too. And just because somebody else's situation, that don't mean that everybody's is that. And I have to bring myself back to that. I have to tell myself that at least once a day.
Yeah.
I do. Because I will get in that whole mentality of all that, and I will bring myself back to thinking, is my husband cheating on me? Is he talking to a CEO? What's he doing with the money I'm sending him? I don't even send him a lot, but heck, when I do, and I expect him to call me 1 million times a day, and sometimes he don't, and I have to be like, God, why did you not call? Julie, I'm trying to save us money. I don't want to have to not talk to you and run out of money. And I'm like, no, like I didn't think about that.
Yeah. It's true.
But, yeah.
I know exactly what you're feeling. So is there anything else that you want to share with the world?
Well, I don't really even know if it's possible to even stay strong in a relationship or not.
Mm-hmm.
But this process has brought me down in a lot of ways. I won't lie about that. And I'm more of a negative person now than I was. I will question everything, but at the same time, let's say something comes up and I want to tell him and I need his input. It's hard when I just can't pick up the phone and call. And we still have our good days and our bad days. We talk every single day normally, but a lot of our fights will start from him not calling. And I think that he's talking to someone else, or I might think that he just don't want to talk to me in general, or I bored him.
Right.
Like it's that day, just stupid stuff. And it's childish, very immature. I shouldn't even be worrying about this.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. If I want to talk to him 100 times a day and Todd has to bring me back to the reality of it, he has to tell me, Julie, we ain't got the money. I'm not calling you 100 times a day. And that's really the hardest thing for me. But I trust him with my life. I really do. And he knows that. And I trust him because I know he'll always have my back. And the things that really haunt me, I guess, sometimes he can bring me out of that. Just the things he knows to say to me. People ask, am I going to wait on him? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, well, you know, I've been before God and I've said my vows and I take that very serious. I've never been married before, so I'm not just going to leave him in there.
Yeah.
And that's what I think every woman needs to look at. They need to look at the bigger picture. They need to honestly really ask themselves, do I really think this guy loves me? Because every offender, they're not these terrible, horrible people that people think are just a criminal. I like what you had said one day when you said, instead of thinking all the bad things about those types of guys or whatever, you had that just to try to get the awareness out there that they're human.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to be treated like humans.
Yeah.
They took a few bad steps, but that doesn't mean that they can't grow from it. I hope that people know that. Just because they've been to prison or just because they have tattoos or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean they're this devil worshiper or whatever. They're all not bad.
Yeah. And some people are just given a really hard hand at life and don't have the resources that we have when we grew up. Didn't have the family structure. When I talk with Nick about different people that he's around and their lives and them growing up, it's very rare that you hear of someone in there who has a family with a mom and a dad and a white picket fence and 2.5 kids and went to college. Like, it's not a thing. It's always broken homes. It's always struggle since childhood. It's always...
Jay, it's funny you said that because it all started somewhere.
And in terms of rehabilitation, I don't know about Todd, but for Nick, when I ask him about the mental health services that he's supposed to be getting, any kind of treatment or psychological anything, there's there's nothing or very little trauma information, trauma education, teaching these guys why they act the way they do, what happened, how to evaluate their situation and make them understand. And I ask him about how often the psychologist comes and talks to him, and he's like, oh, it's just like a walk by. They say like, hey, you good? And then he says, yeah, and then that's it. There's no real evaluation.
Yeah, of course he's going to say, yeah, who wouldn't?
Exactly, especially where he is. No guy's going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I need help.
No, right. He don't want to be singled out like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, who does?
Exactly.
And that is one thing that I wish there was something we could do. And maybe by the grace of God, somebody might be listening to this, but I do know that the guys in North Carolina do not get the rehabilitation that they need. They don't have the reentry. We spoke about bringing awareness to the whole incarceration. And I know that the guys, even the females, I guess, in North Carolina, we don't even have many female facilities, but I know that the males, and I know this from personal experience, they don't have nothing that can help them re-enter back into society. And I wish that there was something that could bring awareness to it, because it's a proven fact that the percentage of them getting out and going right back in is huge. There's no reason it should be that high.
Exactly.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
The whole thing about them always being in the system, it's always going to be like that if there's nothing done.
Mm-hmm.
And there is like $80 billion or something dollars that the prisons have.
Yes.
Well, where is that money going? Because if
Exactly.
you walk into one of our facilities, I don't know about the facilities there, but the facilities in North Carolina are very run down.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just feel like, ew, I want to just go home and immediately take a shower.
And I think the key here, and what my idea in doing this is, for people to share this with people that aren't directly impacted by incarceration. Because if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah. They don't have the slightest clue. They don't. Yeah. Because all they think is that, they're a criminal.
And they
They're
deserve
bad.
it.
They're no good.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah. Recently I posted on a group chat, someone was asking about something and it was completely not related to anything to do with prison wives or incarceration. And I'd commented about my situation, and there was people like commenting on it that basically he deserves it and he wouldn't be in without parole if he didn't do it, and he didn't deserve it. And I'm like, wow, you are the people that I need to find, and you need to listen to people whose loved ones are incarcerated, because you think that, but you actually don't know the reality. You don't know the reality of what's going on.
I totally agree. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, she wrote a really good paper about this for her college essay, and she kind of based it off of the whole mass incarceration deal, and she really did her research on it. It was really good. And I think that in North Carolina, there's not a lot of advocacy going on. There's just not a lot of awareness. And I look on these groups and I'm like, well, where are the people at from North Carolina? Like, where are they at? But it's also sad whenever we go to visit, and there's been times where it's just me and my husband sitting there having our visit. There is nobody else there. And that honestly really breaks my heart. They don't have nobody. And I just feel like some of them are where they should be. But I can't say that, because I think that we can all live and we learn. We all make mistakes, and we learn from those mistakes, and we progress on, and we just keep pushing forward. And we try to leave the past in the past. But people just don't forget, and they don't let you live. They just keep throwing the past up.
Exactly. Same thing happens in Nick's facility too. We get Zoom calls or whatnot once a week, and Zoom calls are free. You don't have to travel. You don't have to do anything. You just have to fill out a form requesting a visit, and they'll give you a 40-minute visit where you can video visit with your loved one. And the volume of people that don't get visits in his unit is just shocking.
I am amazed that it's free.
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
It's a free Zoom call. Yeah.
And you have to be on their visitation in order to send your loved one money.
Yeah.
You just can't log on and send money. You can't do that. You have to be an approved visitor to put money onto their trust fund account.
Crazy.
Yeah. And not everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody has the internet. Not everybody knows. Not everybody has that. And some of them, their people can't figure it out. And so they have nothing.
Anyways, we can go on forever about this, because it's just the realities of
we
imprisonment
could.
are
We
just...
could. But, I mean, I thank you so much for having me, though.
Thank
I really
you.
enjoyed it. And I hope that I can help somebody or be there for someone that might be going through the same thing, because this is a hard road. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in my life. And I'm 37 years old, and I have lived more than most 37-year-olds my age. I've already been through it. And it's not for the weak. It's so hard, and you just want to give up. And I love my husband, so, I mean, I can't give up.
Yeah. When's his out date?
2041.
But he's in appeals.
Well, we have appealed it. We took it through our appellate courts, then we went through the Supreme, and I've got the clemency stuff now for it. And then I don't know. We're praying for a miracle. And I believe that if people really love each other, God is not going to keep them apart. That's what I keep telling myself. He's going to be out. I know he will.
People think I'm crazy, but I just think the whole idea of how me and Nick met and the whole process of it all, and I feel the same way as you. Nick's got life without possibility of parole, and I do not feel that God will keep us apart for much longer. I just don't.
And I don't either, and I can't even put myself in your shoes right now.
Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody pray for Todd to get his appeals.
Please, thank you. Yes.
And get you guys back together, because it just sounds so bittersweet, the whole situation.
Yes. I mean, besides my daughter, it's a different kind of love. But I've never loved anybody as much as I love him in that romance kind of way. You just know. You know.
And you're blessed to have that. We're blessed to have that.
Yes, I am. Very much so.
Hopefully we will get to have you on again in a couple months and there'll be some updates. That'll be good news. And
well, and you too.
Thank you.
And I wish you and Nick the best. And thank you so much, Miss J, for having me and
thank
everything.
you. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Have a good night.
You
Bye.
too.